Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are tackling an absolute monument of an album Queen's 1975 landmark, A Night at the Opera.
It's more than just a record, really. It's a statement.
It really is.
Yeah.
And our mission today is to unpack that statement. We're going to get into the sheer creative genius of Freddie Mercury and the revolutionary production that basically saved Queen and launched them into the stratosphere.
And you have to start with the stakes, because they couldn't have been higher. This wasn't just another album for them. This was a genuine live or die moment for the band.
It's such a classic rock and roll story, isn't it? They've just had this huge commercial success with sheer heart attack.
Right.
But because of these just awful management contracts they were signed into early on, they were completely broke.
Starving artists, literally. They had just managed to break away from their original management at Trident, but the cost was, well, it was astronomical.
So what are we talking about here?
A £100,000 buyout fee, for one. And then, to top it all off, they had to give away their publishing royalties on their next 6 albums.
6 albums. Wow, so they're free, but they're completely ruined financially.
Exactly. I mean, you've got Brian May living in a tiny bedsit. Freddie Mercury is in a flat in Kensington complaining about rising damp.
So this next album fails.
They're done. Finished. The band is over.
So their response to this complete financial desperation is naturally to make the most ridiculously extensive album ever recorded up to that point.
The ultimate gamble. It's just perfect, isn't it? The budget was reportedly £40,000 in 1975.
Which today is, what, something like over £423,000?
At least. They literally bet their entire future on one idea. That pure, unfiltered ambition and technical perfection would save them.
And the anchor for that whole artistic vision, that massive gamble, it wasn't some new technology or a huge bank loan.
No. It all came back to one instrument, really. Freddie Mercury's Steinway & Sons grand piano.
We all know Freddie is the voice, the showman, right?
Yeah.
But the sources we looked at make it so clear he was a phenomenal pianist, and his whole way of composing was completely tied to that instrument.
Oh, absolutely. The piano wasn't just, for accompaniment. It was the engine room for his genius. So many of their huge hits, Bohemian Rhapsody, Somebody to Love, even We Are the Champion.
All came from that Steinway.
All born on that piano.
So what was it about that specific instrument? The physical thing itself must have been key to his style.
It was essential. A concert grand is just a whole different beast. It can be up to 9 feet long, so the sheer size gives you this incredible complexity and tonal color.
And the dynamic range, I'm guessing.
That's the key. That dynamic range was massive. It meant you could go from a really delicate sort of music hall melody
and then immediately pivot to this pounding hard rock intensity.
all within a few bars. The instrument itself let him fuse that rock fury with this operatic sensitivity. It made the crazy genre hopping they were famous for actually possible.
And that genre hopping is what defines A Night at the Opera. It's less an album and more like a variety show on vinyl.
A genre kaleidoscope, that's a great way to put it. You've got progressive rock, pop, heavy metal, folk, music hall, even Dixieland jazz.
Which the rock critics at the time absolutely hated.
Oh, they despise it. They called them overly theatrical, pretentious, they wanted gritty, authentic rock and roll.
But the fans got it immediately.
The fans couldn't get enough, and what's so interesting is that even with Freddie as this larger-than-life figure, the songwriting shows you how much of a democratic unit they were at this point.
Right, because everyone contributed.
Everyone. Mercury wrote 5 tracks, the big ones. But Brian May wrote 4, John Deacon wrote 1, and Roger Taylor wrote 1. It really cemented that idea of Queen as 4 distinct creative forces.
Though that collaborative spirit did not seem to extend to their former manager.
No.
We have to talk about the opening track, Death on Two Legs.
It is pure, unfiltered musical revenge. It's a poison pen letter from Freddie Mercury directly to Norman Sheffield, their ex-manager.
And the lyrics are just brutal. You suck my life out, decaying sewer rat. There's no ambiguity there.
None. Sheffield actually sued the band and the label for defamation after it came out. That's how queer it was. It's such a vicious way to open your make or break album.
Talk about a statement of intent. But
right.
If you move past that opening shot, the deep cuts on this record are where you really see their instrumental eccentricity.
Oh, yeah. They were not content to just play guitar, bass, and drums.
Not even a little bit.
Take John Deacon, quiet guy, the bassist. He writes his classic, You're My Best Friend, for his wife. And on that track, he plays the Wurlitzer electric piano he'd just been learning.
And then there's the sci-fi folk song, 39.
That's maybe the best example. It's a Brian May song about space travel and time dilation, and May, sort of as a joke, asks Deacon if he'll play the double bass on it to give it this old sea shanty feel.
And Deacon just agrees.
He doesn't just agree. He vanishes for a couple of days and comes back having taught himself how to play the upright double bass specifically for that track.
No way.
Apparently, he was just a bit bored and decided to casually master a new orchestral instrument over a weekend.
That is just a staggering level of dedication. But the real peak of this instrumental witchcraft has to be Brian May's track, Good Company.
Sonic witchcraft is the only way to describe it. For that song, May wanted the sound of a whole Dixieland jazz band.
But he didn't hire one.
Nope. Instead, he used his famous red special guitar and this tiny homemade practice amp called the DC amp, and he painstakingly recreated every single instrument, the trombones, the clarinets, the tubas, just by layering his guitar.
Wait, so the entire brass section is just him and his little amp?
Every note of it. It's proof that for Queen, the studio itself was basically the fifth member of the band.
Which, of course, brings us to the one track that defines this whole magnificent, over-the-top project.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Fred's Thing.
Fred's Thing, as they called it, because he composed the entire thing, piano, bass, drums, all the vocals, not on sheet music, but in, like, blocks of notes in a phone book.
In a phone book? The rest of the band had no idea how the ballad, the opera, and the rock part were supposed to fit together.
And the only way they could fit it together was by pushing the recording tech of the time completely past its limits.
They were using the new 24-track machines, right? Moving them from 16 track.
It were, but even that wasn't enough for the sheer density of the vocals. You've got Mercury, May, and Taylor layering their voices over and over to create this massive choir effect.
And that involved a process called track bouncing.
A really destructive process, actually. The opera section alone had something like 180 separate vocal overdubs.
180. On a 24-track tape.
So what they'd do is record, say, 3 harmony tracks, then mix or bounce those down onto one single open track that frees up the other 2.
And they just did that again and again and again.
Over and over. They were dealing with 4th, even 8th generation copies of copies. The producer, Roy Thomas Baker, said the master tape became physically worn down. It was almost translucent. He said it looked like a zebra crossing whizzing by from all the splicing.
So they were literally destroying the master tape to get this sound.
They physically wore it out. And the amazing thing is, that strain on the equipment created their sound. All that bouncing caused this massive distortion and compression, especially at the end of the opera section.
It was a technical accident.
Complete accident. But that heavily saturated, distorted sound became their trademark. It's the sound people later tried to copy on purpose with expensive gear.
Technical failure becomes the ultimate rock and roll signature.
That's the beautiful irony of it. And on top of all that, Freddie just layers on this lyrical mystique. He refused to ever explain what the song was about.
All those characters. Scaramouche, Galileo, Figaro, and then the Arabic phrase Bismillah.
He wanted it to be a mystery, and because he never explained it, you get all these amazing fan theories, from a simple murder confession to this really powerful metaphor for a gay man coming out.
The mystery is what gives it its power. But it leads to the big question. Why go through all this push tape to its breaking point for a single that no one at the record label even wanted to release?
Because it broke every rule. I mean, it was almost 6 minutes long. In the 70s, that was double the length of a normal single. EMI executives flat out refused. They said no radio station would ever play it.
But the band knew what they had.
Oh, they knew. And they forced the issue. They gave an advance copy to their friend, the DJ Kenny Everett, and made him promise not to play it.
A promise immediately broke.
Of course he did. He played the entire 6-minute song 14 times over one weekend.
14 times?
The public response was just insane. The station's phone lines were jammed. People were flooding record stores asking for a single that didn't even exist yet. EMI had no choice. They were forced to release it.
So Queen wins. The song is a hit. Everything's finally harmonious in the band.
Not quite. Then came the fight over the B-side.
Oh, right. Roger Taylor.
Roger Taylor was absolutely determined that his song, I'm in Love with My Car, would be the B-side.
And why was that so important?
Money. Pure and simple. The B-side writer got the same publishing royalties as the A-side writer.
So Roger Taylor wanted his cut of Bohemian Rhapsody.
He did. And the legend is that he locked himself in a tape closet and refused to come out until everyone agreed to use his song about his car as the B-side to Freddie Mercury's masterpiece.
That is maybe the most rock and roll story I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Ego and finance all wrapped up in one.
It's perfect. They finally agreed, and so I'm in Love with My Car is forever a part of music history. It just goes to show, even in moments of pure art, the money always matters.
Looking back, the entire gamble just paid off in this spectacular way. The album saved them.
It did more than save them. It made them global superstars. It hit #1 in the UK, it was their first platinum album in the US, and it was eventually inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame.
And it's so funny how wrong the critics were. They just dismissed it as pretentious fluff, but the public knew instantly. The masses got that this was theatrical and ambitious and, fun.
The genius of Queen was that they looked at the so-called rules of rock music, be authentic, be minimalist, and they just decided to break them all. They embraced maximalism, and in doing that, they created the template for stadium rock for the next decade.
So after this whole deep dive, what does it all really tell us? Here's a final thought for you to Taiwan. This legendary genre-defining album was created because the band was facing financial ruin. Its biggest single only succeeded because they had to push studio technology past its physical breaking point, creating this revolutionary sound entirely by accident. What does it say about creativity when your greatest artistic triumph is only possible because you're desperate and you literally have to break the machinery just to survive?
It suggests that sometimes necessity isn't just the mother of invention, it's the midwife of genius.
We'll see you next time for the next deep dive.